Hello everyone, hope everyone doing well. In today's video, we're going to talk about the translation in the Azure AS Tabular Cube, how you can translate your dimension names, measure names, and dimension attribute names to the multi-language. So most of you know that we use our system, right? If you go to your system and check settings, you can see we always use the English United States. But some cases where the people are use their local language, right? Let's say if the person staying in Canada, so they will use the English Canada language. It's more easy for them to use their local language. Not only that, we have many local languages where the people will prefer to use their local languages while they are working with their reporting, right? In such scenarios, what we can do, we cannot build the multiple cubes for the each user whoever connected to the different countries, right? In such scenario, so the one cube will help you to serve the many people into using their local language, right? So that option is there in the SSA's Tabular Cube. Not only here in the Tabular Cube, I mean, again, it's not a new option. It's there in even multi-dimensional cube. But in this video, I'm completely covering only the translation in the SSA's Tabular Cube. So we'll quickly go through it. What is this translation? I'll show you where exactly this option available in the Visual Studio while you're designing the Tabular Cube, and then how to create a translation. During this creation of the example, we'll use the English Canada language where we can translate the some of our dimension and dimension attribute names. And then once we translated once you prepare the translation in the cube, how to deploy the translation, and then how to browse the translation using our client application. So in my scenario, we're going to use the SSMS as a client application, all right? And then I demo that how you can browse it. And then the last one is, and recently we found that one of the difficulty with this translation while we're migrating from multidimensional to tabular cube. So I'll share that what is the difficult situation and how we overcome. So I'll explain in this video. And without any delay, let's get into started. Right. So the first one is the translation. Okay. So right, what exactly the translation works, right? Let's say you have a client, right, where the one person is sitting in United States, other person is sitting in the Canada. So both are like consumers for the cube, where they take the data from the cube, whether it can be sales data or it can be finance data or any type of the data. But whoever sitting in the US, they want to see their dimension name, right? Some of the dimension names. Let's say you take the customer and products, right? So normally most of the people use these dimension, the same terminology, customer and products. That's how even the US client want to see. But when it comes to the Canada client, he want to see the dimension name and dimension attributes. Instead of customer, he want to see the dimension as name as a consumer, and then even products. Instead of products, he want to see as the name as articles, right? So this is their requirement. Now, so I cannot go and build two cubes, one cube for the United States client, other cube for the Canada client, right? So in that scenario, we're going to use the translation, and then let's go into the Visual Studio, how we my Visual Studio, where I have taken the sample, SSA's Tabular Cube, which is already built and downloaded from the Microsoft side. So once I imported the Tabular Cube, and you can see when we open through the Visual Studio, you can see there is a folder name called Translations, right? This is the translation, is like a lifesaver for us to address the both the US client and Canada client problem, right? So let's get into how we can do this translation, all right? So right click on the translation, right, and click on manage translation. When you click on manage translation, you will get list of all the languages where you can translate your dimension and dimension attribute names and measures to all these language. You can see here many languages. I don't know how many how many are there? I didn't count it, but you can see many languages. So yeah, you can see here, right? It's a pretty cool, right? Where you can see your entire data in your local language, right? But anyway, so talking about all these languages, not our primary focus. Let's get into the our English Canada languages, right? So from here we go and select the English Canada. That is the language I want to use it and translate my dimension, some of the dimension attribute and dimension names to this language. Once I selected the language, and just bring it to the right side and then export, click on export selected language. So what it does, first it will export the template, right? So I'll give this file name, and, SSAS. Okay, and this is the JSON format that we need to save it, right? So that's how we can save this template. What will exactly this template do? It will take existing names and the dimension names and attribute names and export to one file format, and then we can save this file. Once we save this file, we can directly go to the location of this file, and we can open this file in Notepad+. Right? Not only Notepad+, there are some good tools where you can directly open it and you can, you know, prepare this. Right. For now, I'm opening this file in the Edit Notepad+. I'm going to make some changes. Right. So here, let me go to here. You can, if you scroll to the middle, you see your cultures. This is the option you need to look at. After the cultures, your translations part will come to the picture, right? So by default, it will take the existing name. Let's say, what is your original name, right? The customer is your original name. What is your translated caption? So now I want to convert this customer as consumer. So this will be my dimension name, whoever accessing the uh, cube in Canadian language, right? So in case if I don't mention anything, even if the user is connected to the Canadian language, for him still it will show as a customer. If I mention something, it will show that as a translated name, right? So customer dimension name, I want to translate as a consumer, and also I want to change this, you know, first name to consumer, right? First name. Okay, and then I also do the same thing for middle name, consumer, middle name, and then also I'll do with last name. Here I put it consumer last, right? So three dimension attribute names I translated, and dimension name I did that, and now I go to the products, right? Where is my product dimension? Yeah, here. So product dimension I want to change to articles, right? So I'll change this. Okay, and even you can you know, give a description. What is this dimension about? You can mention here so that the description will be appearing for the user. Okay, for now I just translated the two dimension names and three attribute names. Now I'm done with my changes. Just save this file, right? And then go to my cube again, and then click on import translations, and then it will ask you the modified JSON file name. Browse the JSON file where you modified the translation, and then here you have multiple options. If at all you already translated first time and you're going to do it in second time, just click on overwrite existing translation, and then if at all any invalid objects, let's say you added any new dimensions or anything, if you want to ignore them, you can click on ignore invalid objects, and then you can write a log, write import results to a log. It will tell you if you have any error or anything, how many invalid objects are there, or any special character issue that you have in your JSON file. All that information will be stored in the log file. And then before it's importing, it will take the backup of the you know, existed JSON file. If at all the previous version is already attached here, the backup option will help you to take the previous version as a backup and import the new version. Okay, so these are the four options that we have where you can securely play Now I'm done with mapping of my modified JSON file, and then I'm going to hit the import. Once I do that, you can see in the bottom, importing is in progress, and then you can see here the import completed successfully. And then once you're done that, so what you can do, you don't see anything here, but if you want to see your translation file, you can close the model, save, and then reopen. Okay, so now you can see here your Canada translated file is appearing in the solution, right? Now I'm done with my translation. Now I'm going to deploy this solution, right? Okay, so go to Solution Explorer, and then first what I'll do, so I don't want to process my cube from the solution. So due to that reason, I choose the processing option, don't process. So it will only deploy the cube, and I'm going to deploy this solution under the new name, AWDW2, and click OK. And then I click on deploy. Okay, just a warning, right? It's asking to suggest to upgrade, but I don't want to do that. Just click yes, and then it's asking my credential, key user. So generally, if your analysis service is running with any specific Windows account, this window won't pop up. But anyway, so it's my local, kind of R&D system. I didn't map anything properly, so I'm using the SQL account to connect to the database. So that's the reason I'm entering my username and password. Click OK, and then that's it. So my solution is deployed. Now I go here and then refresh. So my AWWT2 is there. Just for safer side, what I'll do, I will just process recalculate, so that if at all any calculated related changes, it will pick automatically, right? So it's completed. Recompile the entire solution. Now I'm going to browse this, right? So hit on browse. Since I'm in the default language in my system is English United States. That's the reason you don't see the translated names here, and you can see the language I'm using here, default. Now I'm going here and select English, right? Where is that? English Canadian. Correct. So now you can see here the customer name is changed to consumer, and then the product name is changed to articles. Even under the consumer, we change the three-dimensional attribute names, right? One is the first name, middle name, and last name. Even those names also changed with consumer first name and consumer last name and consumer middle name. You can drag and drop and play with this data, right? So let me drag internet sales, click OK. Oh, no rows. Why we don't have any? Oh, I didn't process I just deployed it. I didn't process the data. So let me process full, so that, right, so it's processing the entire cube. Yeah, process full completed. And then again, click execute. Yeah, there you go. So I got my data. It seems the middle names are, most of them are null. Let me drag the last name so that we can see here. Execute. Now you can see all your data, right? So this is how we can translate, and then whoever connected to their local language, the names automatically will change on the client tool. Not only SSMS, even if you connect to the Excel, if the user, his OS setting is changed from United States to Canada, even Excel will also use that as a reference and start displaying the translated names in the Excel. Any application tool you take it, it will, based on their language selection, the translated names will appear. Okay, so and again, if I want to go back here, what I'll do, I'll simply select United States here, and then you can see here my customer and product names back to the display. Now I click here, right? And then, okay, so what happened? Still it's using. Okay, this is catchy issue. Let me clear grid, and then again you need to drag and drop these columns, first name and then last name, and then total sales. You can drag and click OK. Right. So again, your names are back to United States English. So this is how you can translate your any dimension name or dimension attribute name. Not only that, you can also do that your measure names, right? There will be measure names here in the bottom. If you want, you can change your measure names. This is the prospect name, but wherever you have a translation, where are the measure names? Okay, let me go here. Geography, customer, culture. Let me search. There you go. So your measures. You can give your translation name for even for the measures so that they will appear in the client pool. So this is how we create the translation and we can browse the translation. Now the last topic is difficult situation that I faced during the migration. Now it's a good how to create it, but now let's go into discuss about the difficulty. So let's go back one step, right? Now I have a US client and a Canada client. Canada client, he's able to see his dimensions, what he is expecting. But US client, he want to see instead of customer dimension, customer, right? He want to rename that as a buyer for the US client. Okay, but in my cube, I already named those dimension names as a customer and the product. But his requirement is change the customer dimension name to buyer. Right now, obviously, we're going to use the translation, right? Okay, let me go to translation. And again, we need to create one more translation for United States, right? So let's go into manage translation option. And then here, right? Here we go into English US. If you start scrolling here, if you notice here, right, you don't see English United States. You have US Virgin Iceland and then US minor Iceland, but you don't see English United States, right? I don't know what reason it's not there, right? Um, Even I posted this question to forum, then they confirmed that it's kind of a version issue with Visual Studio. That's the reason it's missing, right? That's what they told. But the workaround that I did to, fulfill my US client requirement, what I did, so I just simply, drag the English United Kingdom translation file and then drag to the right, and then I selected that file, export to a JSON file. I'll put GB Great Britain and then save. Right now my file is saved. Let me go to here and open this file. Right, open in the Notepad Plus, and I directly go to the cultures. Right here, the trick that I played, right? So under the culture name, you can simply change this to US. Okay, and then go to your customer translation, change this to right. Oh, yeah. Right. So simple trick, right? But yeah. So let's see whether it will, pick it or not. So we'll see in the. We'll import this file and check it in the Visual Studio. Okay. So now I'm going to save this file, Control S, and then go to my Visual Studio and then import translation, and then browse my file, GB, right? Open, overwrite existing one, and I select all these options, and then import. See, it does import it without any issues, right? Now I'm going to deploy this solution, right? So where is the deploy option? Go to the Solution Explorer and deploy. Come on. Q. That's it. My solution is deployed. Now I go here and refresh everything. Refresh. Right. Now I connected already English United States, and then let me reconnect. Okay, something you noticed here, right? I selected my language as United States, and the customer name is changed to buyer, right? So even if you go and select the default language, still it will show as a buyer. Okay, so this is the challenge that you guys face it, but still I don't understand why it's missing the US United like English United States language under the translation. Still, I don't know whether my version issue or with Visual Studio, because I'm using the 2022 where Visual Studio update is 17.10, which is the I believe it's the latest version, but it's not displaying. But somehow this is how I address my US client problem, right? I hope this video is helpful, right? In case if you have any feedback or anything, comments, please leave your feedback and thoughts in below the video, and then I'll see you in the next video with different topics.